All righty. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Disputes Live. I'm your host, I'm Amanda Banks, and weekly I have the opportunity to highlight former athletes that are leveraging their backgrounds in sports and seeing success in business. And this week is absolutely no different. I'm super excited to highlight Billy Brown. So I'm going to ask Billy if you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself and your background. But before, I want to announce if anybody's tuning in, which we know they are, tell us where you're tuning in from so we can give you a shout out. We kind of know who's watching the show. The show is viewed globally. So it's always exciting for me to see where people are tuning in from. So while we're doing that and I'm checking to make sure that everything is live and going well, Billy, first off, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks. It's nice to be here, be interviewed by a local Nashvilleian here. It's fun to do these. Usually I'm interviewed like globally and right down the road, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Nashville's a
we're
pretty
actually
cool
going
town.
to get to meet face to face here in a
Yeah.
couple weeks, so it'll be exciting to come
Yep.
out and see all of the fun things that you guys have going on. So Billy, why don't you share a little bit about kind of your background so the viewers can get to know you a little bit?
Yeah. So the summary there is I grew up in Stillwater, Oklahoma. My dad was at a wrestling background, and being those from Stillwater know that Oklahoma State University is the mecca of wrestling. That in Iowa. So I grew up actually in the wrestling room. I was gifted the body of a golfer, so therefore I went with golf versus wrestling. But I got to spend a lot of time in the wrestling room knowing about athletes and the drive and the work ethic there. That led me to the connections with the Olympic Training Center and USA Wrestling. So after college, when I played golf, I actually spent 6 or 8 months out in Colorado Springs, and I was my claim to fame as the first professional golfer to be on site. I wasn't a good golfer, but I was also not Olympian, but I was there. So I count that.
That
But they didn't,
totally counts, and that is super cool.
yeah. Yeah, and back then, I mean, this is '98, so there's no Titleist Performance Institute. There's nothing there for training, so that's why I used it for. Is like I wanted to get around other athletes to learn how to before I went professional. So that, long story there, failed golf professional, led me to Nashville and three, four, five different iterations of myself. I found myself in with a niche in commercial lending. So I'm actually a creative lender in that commercial space, from bridge to debt to equity. Also a real estate investor. And in the middle of a shoulder surgery, Percocet coma, I came up with this idea called the Golf Sanctuary, and it's been about 6 years in the works. And we actually finally got it out of the ground in October of 2021. And
So that was the
it's
midst of a pandemic.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's the best time to go do it, to open a business. I don't know what else told you, like business school, but definitely wait till a pandemic to open a brand new startup business, a brand new facility, brand new concept.
And especially one that requires you to be in person.
Exactly. So my thought was like, well, I can't really say what it was, but we actually did. The full story was like we'd already syndicated a apartment complex, already syndicated an office complex. I was looking for my next syndication, and it's how you came back to me. That's where the Percocet coma in the shoulder was. And I was like, oh, we need to go do this. And I started modeling it out again. And it's like, now's the time, because like it's, Nashville 2019. Everyone's moving here. There's no more land. This is the perfect time to go do it. So March 2020, I actually scheduled the lunch and learn and had 25 people that were going to come. 2 days before, I got T-boned, totaled my car, which was the night of the tornado in East Nashville, which killed 25 people. So I went from having a room full of people down to 6. And I was like, okay, well, let's keep on having it and see what happens. A week later, we lost power and lost all our food and all that. And that was just a giant cluster. And then COVID hit. And I'm like, is this a sign? Is this a sign? Seriously, is this a sign? And of course, the lending business went to shit too, because it was like all my money went away. Like, I mean, they lost like $250,000 because all the COVID stuff went away. So like all of a sudden you're there with like this great idea, things are going great. All of a sudden, nothing. And at the end, there's the thought of like the athlete thing. What do I do here? is this a sign? Should I throw the towel? Just like, yeah, this is not the right time. Or you just go, F it, let's do it. We're athletes.
So we're going to title this Overcoming Adversity straight out of the gate, and total grit and determination, because you're crushing it now. I mean, you guys are doing some super cool stuff, and I want to go to that, but I want to start back to this wrestling background, because I know so many parents that either have young kiddos in sports that watch the show, or young kiddos that don't necessarily want to be in the sport, but their parents are in the sport. And so me as a soccer mom, I didn't play soccer, and I have this I'm going to write a book on this, but regardless, I'm watching soccer parents and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you people? So I want to know your background and experience in being a young kid with your dad being as elite in the wrestling profession as he was.
Yeah, it was, I mean, he was a state champion wrestler. So, of course, you want to live up to your parents' expectations and like, well, I want to be a state wrestling champion too, but I'm not built like a wrestler. I did not have the physical ability to go do it. But I learned a lot of mentality. I mean, I got my butt drilled every single day. I mean, I was what they call a mat dummy. I mean, I just got obliterated every single day, but I kept on showing up. You know, and you get a little bit older. I did okay in high school, but I'm not going to be a wrestler. But I used that mentality and the butt kickings for golf.
And it was like, literal butt kickings.
Oh, it was literally like I was bad. I mean, I was tossed around. It was just, I mean, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I mean, most people would quit, but I'm too stubborn to quit. It's like I kind of enjoyed it. You know, like this is fun.
So why golf? So if, wrestling obviously wasn't your thing, but what intrigued you about getting into golf?
I'm an introvert, and it's something a small kid could go do. The golf ball doesn't care how big you are, small you are, color you are, sex you are, what your economic status is. It doesn't matter how fast you are with your feet. And, you could go do it by yourself. And I was an only child and adopted, and I got to spend a lot of time being creative. And I'm also I like the creativity, like seeing different shots, hitting different shots. How do I hit the same shot 17 different ways? And I just loved it. And I love being in nature and all that. And I'm also very competitive. So it ticked all the boxes. But also I can't remember not wanting to go play golf. It was from the time I was about 4 or 5 on. I just loved it. I mean, it was just, there's probably at least 13, 14 years there that I had a golf club in my hand every single day doing something.
So what lessons did you learn that carried from wrestling to golf? Because I think a lot about this with gymnastics, because I love to golf as well. And there's some similarities there, even though the sports are completely different. So what were some lessons that you maybe carried from wrestling into golf?
I mean, there's a lot of it. I mean, one is just the sheer determination and grit, like you said, the resilience of the great thing about wrestling, and this is why I love about it. You can be getting your butt kicked down 12, 13 to nothing and pin the guy and still win. No other sport allows you to do that. To be losing, dominantly being butt kicked, but still win. So that's
I've never really thought about that. My stepdad would kill me if he was listening in, which he may be listening in because he's huge into wrestling, and I don't know all of the rules about wrestling. But I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Just because you're down doesn't mean you've lost. You can always win, and as long as there's time on the clock, you can still win. That's the crazy thing. We've seen crazy stuff in 3 seconds, in a match for the tide to turn in many different ways. And that led to the thought of, in wrestling speak, you can be taken down or reversed. It's like, don't be reversed.
Don't be reversed. So let's talk about, so I'm hugely an advocate for women getting into golf and for parents to get their young kiddos into golf. Doesn't matter who they are, how old they are. I think it's a great skill to learn, especially in the business community. So I hope for this conversation for you to sell whoever is listening that is a woman that is maybe not taken the initiative to go do some golf, maybe take a couple of lessons or go out and play around. Like, why should women specifically be playing golf?
I mean, I think anyone should be playing golf because of the network that's out there, the fluency of it, who are you going to speak? And anything that you can do side by side is better than face to face. Having a lunch meeting, and most businesses male dominated. So if you're female with go the guy that lunch, it's a little intimidating. I mean, guys are a little intimidated too. So there's gonna be some guards up there. You go play golf with a bunch of guys and you go mix it up and talk some trash, and it's side by side. Instantaneously, the veil's down. You're unlike respected. You're a sister. Like, it's just fun, and people want to do life in business with people they know, like, and trust. So that's one way to go do it. So you immediately have the network there, you have the fun factor there, you have the respect there, and also, I mean, people want to see how people react in adversity. I mean, I can't go watch you go do gymnastics now, but I can go play golf. I can't go to gymnastics with you. I can go play football with Eddie George. I can't go, play the guitar with anyone else as a fun thing to go do because I don't have that talent. But we all go play golf, regardless of how good, bad, or indifferent it is. Enjoy it outside and be able to, almost the worse you play. And I'm an elite player, so for me, bad is a different level than someone else. It's almost more fun because you get to talk about it, like, oh my God, did you hit this? You can't remember that shot you hit over here. It did this, and this is fun. And we all have stories about that. I've got the 4 in the boat story that in a competitive event. That's fun as hell to go tell. But to tell those stories and those experiences, and that's what life's about, is experiences. And you can go to the concerts, you can go to the events, you can go to whatever, but if you're doing is much more powerful than watching.
So if I was listening and I'm a woman and I'm saying, okay, I would love to figure out how to play, and you use the term conversational golf, which I absolutely love earlier. So when we were talking earlier, we were talking about conversational golf, which is not elite level golf, right? But it's just enough to go out and maybe play around, maybe even just a scramble, which is a team of 4 people that use best ball typically. So how do I go about just learning? Is it going and taking lessons with a professional? Like, if I was starting from complete scratch, what would your recommendations be as a professional to just get initiated into the sport?
Books. Start reading books.
Books. Okay.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say, that's interesting. I've never heard that before.
Well, think about this. It's funny because, like, everything that you hear in, like, business, like, how do you go do that? Well, I read a book on that. I started the book on that led me to this. Like, you don't do like golf. Like, you go do it. You don't read books on it. So, like, we have a going joke about, like, I read it. I play golf for a book. Some people have, but no, it's about the network and go finding those places to go have either the group classes or the individual classes and teaching to go, like, learn how to go play. It just depends on your comfort level, but you just got to go sign up and go do it. There's an intimidation factor there of, like, if I go show up, like, if I'm going to be coached by somebody, it's like, hey, I'm here and I suck. I don't really know what I'm doing. Teach me. Like, everything you're going to be is, like, tight. And you're going to be very, very uncomfortable, which is okay. But sometimes a group class is better. Get a group of ladies together, go do it together and compare it with food and wine. That's what we do at the Golf Sanctuary. It's more about the food and wine and the conversations and network than it is about the golf, but that's what golf's about. So if you can go do that and make it fun, with fun with friends, you're likely to go keep on doing it and improving and getting better. And then, like anything else for athletes, we have a bunch of athletes on here. We know the formula. If you're anywhere elite athlete at all, you know the formula for success, which is you learn the technique, you drill at 50%, you put it in a 75% speed, and then you put it in a competition.
And that's not just with sports, by the way. That's with anything.
Yeah. It's a simple formula, and golf finally caught on to it. That's why I was a successful golf coach. Is I took all the wrestling and elite athlete stuff there and put it into golf. And that's what we did. We were able to improve faster, but through that. Now you can go do that. We can go do that now outside, and now with the technology we have with these virtual simulators, you can do it inside and do it like a non-intimidating factor. Like, no one's watching you. They want you to get better.
The hardest part is to just take the initiative to get there. That's the hardest part, in my opinion, is to just take the initiative to say, you know what, I'm going to go give it a try. As bad as this is going to be, and I'm just going to go. That's, in my opinion, that's the most challenging thing to get over, is in my mind thinking through just taking that initiative to go.
You got to make it like anything else, make it a priority. I mean, see your kids in sports, they're taking the soccer, like, we're going to go play soccer. They don't have a choice. If someone just dropped you off the golf course, like, hey, you're going to go get these golf lessons, you'd probably do it because, like, I'm curious.
So why put kids in golf? Because I think this is critical as well. There's a lot of opportunity, untapped opportunity in schools for golfers. But I would love to know from your perspective, why would you recommend putting young kids in golf to learn the sport?
I like golf specifically because of what it teaches for self-governance.
Mm.
No, you're not doing this as a team. You are doing this on your own. You have complete control of this inanimate object. And your thoughts and how you make that your body move directly affects that golf ball where it goes. It's so similar to life. But then you can also, you learn etiquette, you learn respect, you're around your elders. So you learn from them. And plus, I mean, my 5-year-old daughter and I can go play golf. My mom can go play golf with her 5-year-old daughter. And you can do it as a family. And no matter how good or bad you are, you get to spend time together. You can't go do that with soccer. You can't go play soccer with somebody as a family. I can't go do that. My body won't allow me for very long.
Well, and golf is one of those sports throughout the pandemic that you actually saw a significant increase because it was one of the only ones that you could actually go play.
Yeah. It's the pandemic saved golf. There's no ifs and it's saved it. And out of the pandemic, the rounds of golf were declining like by 10% per year, something like that. So, and now it's up. Now they have more golfers than golf courses, and it's actually in a pretty good place right now. I don't know for how long, because we're also in a housing shortage. Because like they got that land there, going, give about 4 more years, and these guys that thought they're going to play golf all the time aren't going to be there. Yep. But no, the golf part is the character, the integrity, you add up your own scorecard. You sign for it. You put your name on your work. You're held accountable for your actions. And, the way you interact and you treat others is taught part of the game. And I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to it for their kids. Like it teaches them what you want your kids to go be, is people can be good citizens of society and good human beings for other people.
So you kind of hit on it just a little bit, but for me, golf has been an incredible networking opportunity. Yeah. Because you meet all sorts of incredible people, but you get to spend quality time with them rather than just going and having this awkward, uncomfortable lunch. So that's something that I've really found a lot of value in, is developing amazing relationships with people. Yeah. So if once again, I advocate for this, so I'm a little bit more passionate than others, but if you just figure out a way to just kind of figure out how to become a conversational golfer, you can have so many incredible relationships developed on the course, as well as business.
Oh, yeah. It's, I say the conversational golf, like I said, conversational Spanish, you kind of get around it. Yeah. Same thing here, you kind of get around golf, but there's so many ways to be part of it. Is to scramble or just like, hey, just learning how to hit a driver if you're like strong and you can go do it, chip and putt, just pick out something to be really good at and be able to that be your showcase. It takes time, but like who you get to be around. It's the power of the network, the power of showing up, the power of just being around that proximity to people that can go be in that world of the private clubs is who you want to be as a C-suite person. And one of the most pet peeving things I hear is these ladies that are C-suite executives or former athletes, whatever, and they come like, hey, come play golf. Like, oh, I just want to drive the beer cart. I was like, what the hell?
Don't just drive the beer cart.
Drive the freaking golf ball. Let someone else drive the beer cart. Like you're an athlete. You're a C-suite person. Let the other dude do this. Like, don't diminish yourself. I get a little upset about that.
Well, and you have this beautiful combination of career between your background in sports as well as your passion around golf, because it's very clear you're passionate about golf, and you've made that kind of a key component of your career. So let's back up a little bit and talk about, you played golf, and then how did you get into the business world? Kind of where did you start in your professional career?
You want to talk about the bad failures too? Because I'm
sure, let's talk about the bad failures.
It was, I was several iterations. I was really trying to keep a comeback many times. I'd worked at Banana Republic in the shipping department at 4 a.m. for $8 an hour. So I could go like work from like 4 a.m. to like 10 a.m. So I could have afternoons to go play some golf. Finally was able to find some funding, I thought, to go back out there. And this is the fall of 2008. And had a business plan, had a backer, had all this going on. And we all know what happened in the fall of 2008. So the whole world collapsed as far as financially. So my backer had to back out. I couldn't find any more money. I didn't know how to raise money at the time. And I tried to self-fund for a little bit, and it didn't work. So,
well, with $8 an hour from Banana Republic, that won't take you very far when it comes to professional sports.
Really? That wasn't a good plan?
I don't think so, but...
No, I missed work there. No, that was a terrible plan, but I did what I could do. I didn't know. I didn't know any better. But no, I mean, you fast forward, and then, I mean, it ran out of money. It literally is down to like $5 in my account. And I have this letter from the mom of an ex-girlfriend. And again, I'm not young. I mean, I'm 30s. So this hadn't been that long ago. But she left me $500, wrote a nice note, and I put it in my safe to remind me like what it was like, and it motivated me. I mean, it's inspired me. It kind of pissed me off that I had to.
What did the letter say?
I can't tell you this. I'll cry.
Okay.
I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you. But it was humbling. I mean, whenever you're an athlete and you think like you're gonna make it, you've got these skill sets, but you can't feed yourself, can't pay your bills. I mean, it's demasculating for sure. But no, I had to take that money, and then I go email the potential investor, and this email was like, and broke down and put a stake in the heart of my dream and said, I'm flat out broke. I need a job. I'll clean toilets. I don't care. And he took me under his wing. He had a mortgage company, so told me about finance, and did that for about 5 years before I got out and did some commercial world. But it definitely got me exposed to finance. It got me exposed to real estate. It got me exposed to a lot of things, and I started putting all the pieces together. And that led me to commercial, and then led me to education, and led me to investing, and then, this. So
I'm sure that there's so many lessons that you learned from this individual. And like for me, it's all about like you get opportunities, doors open from one person, right? Like there's these iterations throughout your life where people will open doors for you and give you opportunities. So what is one thing that you learned from that man?
I learned a lot.
Or maybe a couple principles or 3 things that you could share.
Yeah, I mean, this is a struggle with me, and I'll just be flat out honest with you. I had a struggle around the money. I mean, I grew up in a place where having too much money was a sin, and having not enough money was a sin. So I had very much issues around that. So he taught me about the proper use of money and what good it is, and what actually is money and versus currency versus wealth, and what good it can be done. And it really mentored me on that, and showed me how good it could be and how good people that are wealthy are, because you can't be wealthy without being good. I don't know if anyone follows Rabbi Daniel Lapin on here, but he wrote a book called Thou Shalt Prosper. And I've met him a couple of times, and hopefully be on his podcast. Daniel, if you're watching.
We'll tag him and see if he's on LinkedIn. We'll tag him.
Rabbi, he's a cool dude, but he's the philosophy of money and where it comes from, originates, and all that. So very much the same lines there of like, wealth is created by doing good. And all money is a certificate of appreciation.
That's powerful.
So I was like, mind blown. So that opened the door for me.
Well, I would imagine so I struggled with that as well. And that's coming from humble background, and not really truly understanding principles of money and exactly how it works. And so are there resources that you dove into aside from this book that you would recommend some of our viewers to look into?
If you're struggling with that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. Just to share with you. We talk about this in our little masterminds, all that. Just know the difference between currency, money, and wealth. There are three different things. This, let's see if I got my wallet on me here. Where'd my wallet go? There it is. And fiat. So this, I got a $5 bill.
Okay.
That is not money. That is currency.
Currency.
And that's the biggest thing. And once you understand a little lesson here, so there's three words here. There's three words on here top. You can see this. It says Federal Reserve Note. Only one word is true. This is not federal. Our currency is not federal. There are no reserves, and it is a note. So our money, every piece of paper like that that's in circulation right now is debt. So once you understand that you cannot save your way to prosperity, it's leveraged. And once you understand leverage and the proper use of leverage, then your mind will be opened up to a whole other world, red pill, all that. The other thing, if you really want to go down the rabbit trail,
let's go, because I think that this is a really important topic that a lot of people need to dive into.
Yeah, it's here's the biggest one. You know once you know that, what is the world's largest religion?
What? Tell me.
Money.
Yeah.
Money. People worship money. Money's not real. Money is a tangible thing that comes out of because of what you've created, but people think it's something to earn. It's not. It's something that is being given to you because of what you've created. So it's the world's largest religion. So once you understand money, the difference between money, currency, and wealth, and you stop focusing on currency, and you work at wealth and how wealth is created. True wealth is created without currency.
Interesting. Okay, we've got a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah.
And this is super powerful, so we need to lighten it up just a little bit.
Oh, we're good. I got 10 full hats back here for everybody.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So
Jason always submits the best questions. He's listening in from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he said, "What does leadership mean to you?"
Ooh.
So let's dive into leadership. So what does that term mean to you?
So leadership is, I was taught this, like if you walk into a room and you can't clearly see who the leader is, step up and be the leader. Leaders lead. And what that means is you take direction of something, not by pushing and dragging, but by inspiring. So it's also about recruiting, because you can't do it by yourself. Leaders are the ones that usually have the inspiration and the vision. And there's people that actually are good at doing those things. And that's where you go partner with people on. And that's, again, the leadership there. How do you lead each other? It's not a one-way lead. Like my COO leads me all the time, and I lead him. I like showing him different sides of this whole thing called life and business. But leadership is nothing more than serving others. Your business serves others. In exchange for serving others and adding value to them, they give you certificates of appreciation called money, currency.
So I think that there's a lot of people, especially there's a lot of founder CEOs that listen in on this, and talent acquisition is a very, very important thing. In fact, I listened to somebody speak on this on Saturday. So I would love to know, like, what are characteristics when you're looking for high quality talent? What are characteristics that you are looking for?
You can tell by their resume if they can do the job. Can you do what we need you to do to fulfill this role? So there's that. But there's also who are you? What's your character like? When you don't want to hit the fan, how do you react? How do you deal with others? How do you deal with others that are in a role less than you? So we try to put all our potential team members in that situation where we're watching them to see how they act and react, because we're a big family. Just because you're the cook or the chef doesn't mean you're below a different staff member. Like those people are highly, highly important. So you want to treat them with respect. Like how are they? Are you treating them as equals? Um, so the acquisition and getting to know people. Nowadays, we know how short life is.
Yep.
Like we want to get to know Amanda. We want to know what drives her. What are her biggest needs besides this? I need to go get a job and go work to make money. If that's what it's about, like this is we don't want that person. We want somebody that's fulfilled on all levels. Like, what are you trying to go do? If this is your world, this is all that. Like, we don't want you. Because if you think this is it, you're going to burn out. You don't have anything else. I mean, I burned out on golf because that's all I thought about was golf.
Yep.
Golf. There's nothing.
Well, and
else.
your identity was tied to that.
Your identity is tied. But my identity is tied to this job, and something happens. I mean, your mood swings up and down. If you're like, this is a means to an end. Like, cool. How do we get you to the other end there? How do you get to more vacations? How do you do more investing? How do you go create these other things for your kid and all that? I mean, that's fun. That's what we want to add value there. It's not we serve others through what we've created, but we also serve our team members, and that's our important client is our team members.
That is super powerful. Okay, here's another one. So 1 year from now, where do you want to be from a growth standpoint? So this is an interesting question.
In which business? That's the crazy thing. We have all sorts of businesses going on here. So I think the golf sanctuary one will 1 year from now have our second location identified and probably under construction. I'd like to say open, but it's the way the supply chain is going right now. I don't think it's possible. And then our lending side, I mean, we're actually, it's evident we need to go do a fund. So we'll probably do another, probably raise 10 million to go do that one.
So how about individually? So aside from your businesses, personal growth is really, really important to me. Like that is one thing that I put a lot of emphasis on is continuously focused on personal growth. So what are some things that you, a year from now, would be focusing on from a personal growth perspective?
So I've been struggling with this because I've never been a C-suite before. I've always been the investor. To step in that CEO role of like, okay, now I am truly leading this thing as well as being the founder. What does that look like? So I started changing things from the way I dressed to the people I started interacting with and started going around different groups. So I don't know nothing but hire coaches. So we have a mastermind as part of our investors capital group, and one of our contributors said something really cool. He goes, "I have 7 coaches."
Yep.
So I got paid for 7 coaches. I went, like, I have coaches, but I don't pay for them because of who I am, but not who I am, but like, I just get access to these people, but I don't really pay for this coaching. I was like, well, crap, man, I need to go start paying for that. So I've never been a CEO. So now we're starting to look for CEO coaches, looking for fitness coaches and all that to be able to invest into, to go make sure that I am aware of how to go lead an organization versus just be an investor. If you saw me 6 months ago, I'd be in an oversized golf shirt and golf pants that don't fit because I've lost a lot of weight and it was too cheap to go buy any clothes. Because like, what the hell care? But now I'm like, okay, I am the face of this thing. I need clothes that fit and actually show up, and I fit in with the group of people we're trying to be part of. And that's just a whole mindset change than it is more than anything. So Jason's probably back to changing the mindset first before we change anything else. So I know it's there. I'm unclear what that's going to look like.
So this is an interesting thing because you're also an introvert. So naturally, I'm very much an introvert. And I literally had somebody sit me down and be like, Amanda, media, speaking, all of these different things is part of leading an organization successfully. And so have you found challenges in kind of that side of it too? And are you, because I want to encourage a lot of people that listen to this. I was terrified of public speaking, so much so I was paralyzed by even going and doing it. And it's a skill set. You have to literally work day in and day out to refine that stuff. But I think it's critical as a CEO and as a leader to be involved in some of those things and do some of these media and forward facing types things. What are your thoughts on that?
This is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you that like most people would be scared of learning how to play golf. They've never played golf before. Same thing about speaking is to me. So much so that, and again, like you, I was encouraged to go get coaching. I'm like,
Yeah.
And I have very, very, very much hang-ups on speaking. There's a lot of insecurities there. I mean, I'm very insecure about it. So there's a gentleman coming to the golf sanctuary tonight. They're actually hosting their event. And I found out what the event was about speaking and influence. I went, I need to go sign up for this. I had a friend go do it because that's how we got the gig with the golf sanctuary. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, I want to go invest in this coaching and teaching. And so it's about $6,000 for 2.5 days. And it's, I saw my friend last night at the golf sanctuary. He goes, it's going to get emotional. I was like, good, I need it. It's like,
I mean, there's a lot. So anybody that's listening that is leading a team, speaking, presenting, that is even small. So when I was terrified of public speaking. I was even so much terrified that I didn't want to lead small groups at first. Like, I have a very strong sales enterprise background. So I had to get over some of that for years of actually presenting proposals and things to that nature of groups of people, but I stayed away from it for literally so long. And so I want to encourage leaders to support your employees, because there could be incredible people that are challenged with this specific skill, that if just provided the opportunity, the coaching, the skill sets needed, you'll see a different level of confidence in them that you may not be seeing from them right now.
Oh, definitely. And investing in your team is important. As we're growing, that's part of our culture. Like, how do we go invest in them? It's like, you just got to start small.
Yep.
But the same thing there is just one single mindset shift, and everybody's insecure. Like, that's the great thing about being an athlete and, getting a little older is I talk to all these other guys, everyone's insecure. Like, my friend asked me, he's like, how do you feel about the event? It's like, I'm scared. You know what, Liz? He goes, good. It's like, cool.
Well, and that's the thing is, you see, and I talk to my daughter a lot about these topics, is you see what is the output, right? But you don't see the input, the long time it takes to get from point A to point B a lot of the times. And that's the thing about sports as well. Athletes are incredible if you give them clear and concise direction and they know how to get from point A to point B, and translating that into business skills is a really big superpower because that's ingrained in their DNA.
In athletes, we know to put in the work.
Yep.
Do the work, trust the process. And part of growing up inside the wrestling community, they're watching this practice every day. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I saw future gold medal winners get their butts kicked in practice by guys that weren't as good with them. But guess what? They overcame that and became great. So but yeah, the grind is, I think, what athletes kind of love, the grind. So,
I mean, it's an interesting
challenge.
We're an interesting breed, right? It's something I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy overcoming adversity. Golf, is no different. I absolutely love the sport because you can play amazing one day and then the next day you can play completely terrible. And sometimes you have no idea why. Yeah. And it's all up here.
Yeah. We're just life.
It's just life.
It just happens. It just happens. One day's great. The other day's terrible. What changed? Don't know. Great.
So we've got some other questions and I want to dive in. Jason submitted amazing questions. So I need to just bring him on the show and have
sounds like he's interviewed taking your place there.
So he said there are many people who've contributed to your continued growth throughout the course of your career. If you could take time to thank some of those people, who would they be and why?
Wow. That's a great question, Jason. You need to have him on the show. So there's several. I mean, we have a lot of great people in our lives. So, I mean, how long do I have? The locals here, I see Brian Covey, which hopefully you'll have him on his show. Fantastic man, fantastic leader, all that, but very encouraging. Mike Hardwick, who's the CEO and founder of Churchill Mortgage. And then he just talked about the wrestling community, from Jim Shear to Rich Bender. Coach Jose is not with us anymore. John Smith. My dad, you talk about living up to your dad's expectations in wrestling. So at his funeral, he had John Smith, who is a 6-time world champion wrestler and coached Oklahoma State University as a speaker. Leroy Smith, who runs the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Coach Jose, who coached all these guys, and Olympics, coached Olympic and world teams, and an attorney out of Norman who helped do a lot within the wrestling world to go grow the sport. So that's just that's who was around. So those people are the ones I was around as a kid and learned from, as far as grit, determination, how you maneuver within the business world and collaborate together to do great things. So, my dad was around. I think him too.
So you have collaborated with some amazing, amazing people. And so Jason asked another question about some of your books, but I want to dive into, this whole world. Like, there's a lot of people that would love to write books, and they're challenged with actually overcoming that fear, or that it's so difficult to get involved in some of those things mentality, right? So tell me a little bit about the books that you've written, and I'm going to drop some comments below that show you guys where you can actually pick them up. But both of them are incredible resources. So dive into both of those just very briefly.
So the hack is hire a coach. I mean, if you've never done it before, hire a coach who's actually been there and done that.
And if you need 7, get 7.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, if that's part of your marketing and you want to do, then there's that. And also, know the result. So if you do I write a book? Okay, great. Why do you want to write a book? Reverse engineer that. When somebody reads that, what do you want them to go do? And then who is that person you actually want to go have approach you? What is it? The book sales is not the end result. The speaking gig is not the end result. What is it on your value proposition and your value ladder that you're offering them that you want to go do? Otherwise, don't waste your time. It's like, great, you got content out there you give away for $20 or whatever. Fantastic. But why? So there's just this knowing that. So don't just write a book, just write a book.
Why did you write your books?
I was approached, and it's a fear factor. I flunked English in high school. It is one of those. This guy had a great success of taking these things to number 1 bestsellers on Amazon. I was like, I could tell my story in 2,000 words, what it was. It's like, okay, I can do that, and send one to my English teacher. Say, here you go. No, I haven't sent one to her yet. I'll be there in May. I may do that. Drop her one. Hey, thanks for flunking me in English. I also made a C in art. So there's that too. That was in college. How do you make a C in art?
So we have, hold on. Okay.
Back to the book, the easiest thing is just to hire a coach and you go through it. Because I've got a guy in Chattanooga that actually writes fiction. So if you have a theme that you want to go through and actually put it into a story form that people can go do, he'll write it for you. And that's what he does. So it's pretty fascinating. Like, oh, that's cool.
That process is called ghostwriting, correct?
It's ghostwriting, and there's just services out there that'll do it for you, and coaches. I mean, it's pretty common, more common than I thought. But these books I actually wrote, yeah.
So we've got Andrew Cushman. So I'm excited I get to meet Andrew. He's coming to Nashville here in a couple of weeks with some other folks. He said, cool. What are a few things that you look for in clients for growth?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yep.
So abundance mentality.
Mm,
I want them to appreciate the value that we bring. And I want to know what other services, this is from both lending and golf, what are services that they go pay for and what they pay for? Oh, aside from our business, what is it? What do they value with their currency to go and time to go put into? And also what do they give back? Are they looking for a transaction or a relationship? We call it transaction or transformation because that's what we do is transform on both sides of the equation, especially on the lending side. That mindset of an investor. On the golf sanctuary side, we're looking for members that know how to function within a network and to add value. The Go Giver, Bob Burg wrote that book, The Go Giver, which he's in the second book that I wrote with about giving first. What else can you give? Are you going to take? You're going to give. So that's it. And the third one is just no a-hole policy.
So, oh my gosh. So that is our policy too. Literally, that was when Rupa and I were talking about building out the businesses. That was our number one policy. It was like, we're not dealing in toxic ecosystems. And so this goes back to, so Jason asked another question about toxic work environments. And this is really interesting. And I want to dive in after we address this question. What exactly is the golf sanctuary? Just so that people that are listening know what we're talking about. He said toxic working environments are becoming more prevalent in the workspace. What are some steps that you have taken to ensure that this doesn't ruin the golf sanctuary?
Oh, great question. So the first thing with the golf sanctuary is, first rule is there is no golf sanctuary. That's good. I'll tell you that at the end, but this goes for anyone. It really starts with leadership. Who do you have in there? And I only had to make one hire. That's the great thing. I only had to make one hire. He'd handle the rest. If I got the right person, like attracts like.
Yep.
So I went for somebody that I knew could level me up and level our clients, our client up, who could hold everyone else to higher standard, including myself. And once you do that, they're going to attract the rest of the same people, that ecosystem. So it starts with leadership. If you have a-holes in your organization, look at the leader. It starts with them. It starts with what they allow.
Yep.
And if they allow it, it's like the generation stuff. What have you allow the second generation will embrace? So what do you that first leader allows? That's the second second and third team member will embrace it. So
do you think this pours over to your client base too?
Oh yeah. And I'm guilty of that too because I give away too much. So I have to have team members that hold me back from giving too much because my intellectual, my property is my brain and how we all do all that. So there's that too much thing. So there's that fine line, but yeah, same thing.
So there's one more question, and I want to make sure that we address all of these. So he also asked, being a 2-time Amazon best-selling author is quite the accomplishment. So we're going to go back to the books.
Okay. Cool.
What are some books that have helped shape the mindset that you currently have? So you've mentioned 2, I believe, but what are your top maybe 3, 4, 5 that you would recommend for individuals to check out? Aside from yours, because I'm definitely going to check those out myself.
Yeah, I mean, I hated reading growing up. It bored me. But I'm very visual. Words are kind of hard. Mm-hmm. So it took me a lot of time to start reading and start finding stuff I enjoyed, and it's a muscle I go use. So the first one that got my attention was Rich Dad Poor Dad, the purple book. If anyone knows,
I have a story about this book, which is very interesting that you said that.
Yeah. So I got to hang out with Robert and Kim Kiyosaki down in Belize last year and get some pictures with them and all that. Know them. I'm Huggy Bears with Kim Kiyosaki because of the golf connection now. And then you've got Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
Napoleon Hill. He wrote another one. Actually, Sharon Lechter, who actually wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, co-wrote with is Outwitting the Devil. Another Napoleon Hill, like eating a steak is massive. The Go Giver is a little bit easier to go read than those. So as I say, those are probably the 4 there. And I got plenty of others that just like mind blowing. It's like, oh my gosh. And then the last one I just read, which was encouraged me by a friend of mine, is Willpower Doesn't Work. As an athlete, you'll love it. That's a good one. That one blew my mind away. Like, oh my gosh, I've completely misread psychology and the importance of what I did unknowingly, how I got to where I'm at.
So here's my rich dad, poor dad. I'll give super quick nutshell on this. But so I was working for corporate when I had my daughter homeschooled over the pandemic, and I was 2 chapters into that book, and I was on the fence about going into entrepreneurship. I literally quit my job because of that book, but coincidentally, and this was not planned, I actually ended up at Sharon Lecter's house.
Oh, wow.
It was either a week or 2 later, sitting at the dinner table, that I think that book was written. So that's my crazy rich dad, poor dad book. But that caused me to quit my corporate job and jump into entrepreneurship because it made sense so quickly. I was chapters in and I was like, what am I doing here?
Oh, it's amazing. His follow-up one, and again, the finance always fascinated me. That's a whole language of its own. Cash flow quadrant.
I need to dig into that one. I've not read that one yet.
It's really, really good because you can see that's the psychology of money, psychology of that, but also visually representation of income, expenses, assets, liability that you can't get from accounting. Like, it makes it so simple. And then of course you fast forward now got the whole Rich Dad team. I know them real well, and Tom Wheelwright and those guys, friends and all that. So it's just weird.
So let's talk about the golf sanctuary, because we've talked a lot about it, and people probably are listening and are like, what the heck is this golf sanctuary? I'm actually going to throw up the website link right now so that if you're tuning in, it's www.thegolfsanctuary.com. But what is this golf sanctuary? Like, share a little bit about what the golf sanctuary is.
So I'll tell you flat out, it's not about golf. For those that are this world, it's not about golf. It's about the network. What we've done is we've created a community around a game we mostly love. And mostly is in brackets. So that's where you go, your joke. But you think about this, like we're so time constrained now. We know how good being outside is. We know how much fun golf is. We know the network you have there, but we're limited. Golf, what used to be our sanctuary, now it's gone. Like in Nashville, actually most places, there's a few people moving here, like 100 people a second.
Just a little bit. And you being in real estate, it's probably a great opportunity to be in real estate in Nashville.
It's crazy. It's like 100 people a second are moving here. It's just nuts. It's like, anyway, whatever. I can't say that I'm lying. But the thing there's no more golf courses being built.
Yep.
All these people are moving here from the Northeast, or there's no more. All the memberships at the clubs are taken. All the waiting lists are full. And like all these guys are trying to play golf. And if you have a membership, which we do, is like, 1, good luck getting a tee time. 2, it's 5.5 hours to go play. 3, what if it rains or the weather sucks that day?
Yep.
So we just decided to eliminate all those things with the private club experience just being indoors.
So let's talk about the pollen too. Can we just?
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about pollen. Yeah.
Well, and there's a golf course that's closed down in Mount Juliet, and they're building residential housing in what used to be this beautiful, beautiful course in Nashville. Oh, yeah, so the golf sanctuary is indoors, so no pollen, which is very, very bad in Nashville, right?
We say it's 70. It's always 72 and snacky.
Snacky, okay. It sounds like you had cheese and wine there, so that's a good combination.
We have an executive chef, award-winning executive chef. So this is not Top Golf indoors. This is a high-end private country club experience with indoor golf. So we have 6 private suites, community suite. We have a full bar with the highest end liquors you can actually find, restaurant space, and a members lounge and a VIP suite. So anything that you can do for business is there. The private conversations, obviously the technology is phenomenal. We have basically the Ferrari of simulators called TrackMan. The PGA Tour TrackMan is a friend of mine. His actually wife works for us. and it's just really cool what we can go do there. You can play 9 holes in probably 45 minutes. There you go.
So Jose's popping in here. Jose's a great friend of mine. He said bubbles, berries, Botox on the website. That's an event for the whole family. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the ladies' event they did the other night. We need to take that down. We're actually about to redo the website because the website sucks on purpose. We have the building actually is like the building from the office, the Dunder Mifflin building. There's no signs, no address, shades are drawn. You wouldn't know what's in there, and we do that by purpose. We don't want it. It's not a retail type establishment. When you're there, you want to be able to. You're there because you know what's there, and you know what's inside and why.
So we're wrapping up on time, and I want to address this one question that he had. He said, "If I'm bad at golf but great at banter on the course, since I don't care for my result, since I'm not great due to injuries, how can I make the best of it?"
Oh yeah, just play. I mean, that's the great thing about the simulators is you're not walking around, you're not losing golf balls, and it doesn't matter. I can go put you at a tee box or in a situation where you can go succeed, and I can go challenge myself inside those simulators, and we can all do it together and have fun, and also eat and drink and banter. One of our suites is open, and it's the trash talking suite, because we wanted to be able to have that feel the gallery of the buzz and then the hush before somebody hits. And it's pretty cool. It actually turned out that way.
Well, I can't thank you enough for joining in. This conversation has been all over the place, but it's been super fun. We've talked about all sorts of incredible things, including a lot of really good leadership tips and tricks, golf tips and tricks, all sorts of stuff. So how can people get in contact with you, or even like reach out to book event space for the Golf Sanctuary?
Yeah, I'd say the easiest thing is just go to thegolfsanctuary.com and go look up there.
Got it pulled up.
Just put in your contact information. First, like event space, we do rent that out and have leadership stuff there quite often. And then you can share my contact information as well as some of my email. Just reach out to me for speaking or mentoring or whatever. Be happy to help.
And I will drop that information in the comments below. And so this has been super fun. Once again, thank you for joining in and sharing all of your tips and tricks and being the awesome introvert that you are. I've enjoyed sharing in conversation with a fellow introvert that absolutely has gotten over this fear of public speaking. So I'm grateful that you shared that and hopefully inspired other people that may share in similar challenges to actually just put themselves out there and share their genius with everybody else, because it has the ability to make the impact of the lives of other people. So
that's right.
You for that.
Thanks, Amanda.
So for everybody tuning in, thank you guys for constantly joining in and supporting the show. This is the highlight of my week. I absolutely love highlighting other former athletes that are crushing it in business and kind of picking into some of the things that they're using in their daily lives to show leadership skills and all these other fun things. So thank you for tuning in. And until next week, actually, I have a bonus episode this Thursday, so I'll be dropping some information into the chat for a bonus episode as well. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week.
Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate it.